Wait. Hey guys! Did you know that Five Nights at Freddy's exist? And did you guys know that nothing else apparently exists? Before I start this video, let me just explain. I do not hate Five Nights at Freddy's, nor the fan base. Yes, any fan base can be annoying. Sometimes some fan bases can be more annoying than enjoyable. Sometimes there will be certain fan bases that have certain dark sides that people like to attach to more than the actual good side. But if there's one thing I hate about Five Nights at Freddy's, it's how certain YouTubers, now I'm not saying all YouTubers who have ever made a Five Nights at Freddy's video, but certain YouTubers think that all they can do is nothing but Five Nights at Freddy's and get subscriber after subscriber after subscriber, milking the fucking franchise. Now, I'm not going to say exactly who, because this channel is not meant to be like...
Did you guys know that this YouTuber exists? And I personally don't like that YouTuber, so I'm going to do everything in my power to make my audience hate this YouTuber, even though it's more based on opinion. This guy sucks. You guys should subscribe to me.
Yes, there are certain YouTubers I love and hate, but I'm not going to make this channel all about me talking shit to the YouTubers I personally don't like, because in the end, it is about opinion. Now, for those putting your comments down below, like...
Oh my god, they can make videos about Five Nights at Freddy's if they want. They just like the games.
Yes, people have the right to make any video that they want, about any content that they choose. It's a magical thing about YouTube and stuff. But... when it comes to channels all about Minecraft and Grand Theft Auto, those games at least have enough content to last an entire channel. With Five Nights at Freddy's, you can beat the entire first game in less than an hour, depending on how many deaths you have. You cannot make an entire YouTube channel all about Five Nights at Freddy's. It's not going to work out all that well. And do you really think these people are really just in love with Five Nights at Freddy's to the point where that's all they make on YouTube, and not just doing it for views? Because if they are, because at that point, it's an obsession, and they should really see help if they're really that obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's, if that's all they're going to talk about. It's just sometimes I just think, maybe I shouldn't do Five Nights at Freddy's all the time.
No, you need to be ready for Freddy. No! No, please!
It's me. Prepare your anus.
No! No, not my anus! I need that for pooping!
So, what am I going to do? An entire video about Five Nights at Freddy's. Because it is okay making a few videos about Five Nights at Freddy's every now and then. This channel is meant to be all about horror, and technically Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror game. So you can expect some Five Nights at Freddy's videos, but please do not expect this entire channel to be nothing but that! Without further ado, this is more of a personal list, because there's not too much I could talk about Five Nights at Freddy's, with the exception of the theories, which I could do later on. My top 10 personal favorite animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's. There are only 2 rules in this list. 1 must be an official animatronics. Fan theories, fan recreations, and speculation cannot be within the list. So things like, I don't know, what's his name, Sparky the dog cannot be on the list. Simply because that's not an actual animatronic within the games. And rule number 2, I don't want any variations. Nothing like Withered Bonnie, or Phantom Chica, or Nightmare Freddy. Now the toy animatronics, they're technically their own things. Even if they are technically just Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Toy Freddy, they can still be on the list because they're separate animatronics, not just alterations of the originals. That definitely narrows down a few things to like which animatronics can and can't be in the list, and it doesn't give me too many options, but it gives me enough to make the list. So without further ado, here comes my top 10 personal favorite animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's. Nightmare! In other words, unimaginative. Now, I'm sorry, I like Nightmare as a character. I feel like he has a good purpose, like being a new animatronic for a specific night, rather than just giving you all the other animatronics with just like more of an aggressive attitude. But I just don't like how Nightmare is just a recolor of Nightmare Fredbear. In my opinion, it's just lazy. Yes, he has a different death noise and a death screen, but the death noise is just a slower version of the original death sound, and the death screen is just a single image. But it's still just kind of lazy in my opinion, and once again, it's kind of like the alterations, but Nightmare is kind of a different animatronic. Now once again, if there's nothing I don't like about Five Nights at Freddy's, is that we rarely ever get to see new kinds of characters make an appearance, with the exception of things like Springtrap, Balloon Boy, Mangle, and the Marionette. The others are just like, hey, let's make a new version of like Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, or Foxy, and not introduce like any other animal or anything else like that. No, we absolutely cannot do that. The originals are fine, but I'd like to see some new faces every now and then too. And Nightmare just being a darker version of Nightmare Fredbear is just lazy in my opinion. But I do like his purpose. He's definitely more imaginative than just Night 6 or Custom Night 2020. 420, bro. My favorite of the toy animatronics. Toy Freddy. Why? His big chest and his structure just kind of makes him look like a boss. But because of the rosy cheeks that kind of like most of the toy animatronics have, he's kind of less intimidating. Unless you give him the black eyes, which for some reason, all of the Freddys have to have. It is pretty cool though. It does look more intimidating, and he actually looks more intimidating than, who the fuck knows gender toy Bonnie, because unless we looked at the original Bonnie, we wouldn't know if that thing's a boy or a girl. And, big short Chica. Why the pink shorts? Not okay. I am mad uncomfortable right now. Scott Cawthon has said that the animatronic that scared him the most is Bonnie. And considering he's the first animatronic that you see and he has this fucking image, I can kind of see why. But Chica? Chica has that glare to her. It's just like,
I'm gonna kill you.
Chica always looked more intimidating to me. Like Five Nights at Freddy's 1's like, oh god, please, you're making me uncomfortable. You don't even look, it doesn't even look like you're looking at me. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Where the fuck are your eyelids? Their eyes are just there. Just sitting there. Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Oh, everything's blackened out, but it's still uncomfortable. Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
Chica.
I don't know why, but this is actually the least intimidating of all of them. I don't know how. That, and she kind of looks like Big Bird from Sesame Street. I don't know about you, but that motherfucker is suspicious. That motherfucker. Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Being Scott Cawthon's most horrifying creation, Bonnie. Bonnie was never really that scary to me. He just looked like this doofy fucker. Scott Cawthon, the reason I said like nitty-gritty is because like Scott Cawthon said that Bonnie scared him the most. Which is kind of weird because Bonnie's just the first animatronic. And usually the first enemy you see in an entire game is usually the least threatening. But Bonnie does have a nice design. His wither design is fucking badass and actually looks withered like Chica, unlike Freddy and Foxy who just like, oh, we got a little tore off. And Bonnie's just like, I am missing my fucking face and my arm! A little tore up my ass! And Nightmare Bonnie actually looked intimidating as well. It's just, why wasn't he a phantom inside Five Nights at Freddy's 3? I get Springtrap is kind of like the Spring Bonnie, but still, it feels like when we have like Phantom Freddy, Phantom Chica, and Phantom Foxy, we need a Phantom Bonnie. I don't know why we don't have that, but whatever. Alright guys, put up your pitchforks. I don't think Freddy himself is really that scary. I'm sorry. It's just, I like Freddy as a character. Honestly, I do. The reason he's number 6 is because he's like the main character, the first animatronic you think of. He's like the Mario of the series. It's just, when you think of Mario characters, Mario's the first one you think of. You're like, yeah, that's the main character. But if your grandmother saw Bowser for the first time and be like,
Who's it? Is it George Lopez? You can't tell me it's not George Lopez!
then you could tell the bear's Freddy simply because, for one, he has had the title, and two, you literally see him at the beginning of the screen in the first game. You know he's Freddy. He's the first thing that comes up. But he was never really that intimidating. He looked more cute than all the other animatronics. Even more cute than Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. I don't know why. It was just never really that intimidating. The Wizard actually got a little more intimidating, but even then, it was just because he was hunched over and so fucking huge. Phantom was actually because he had a different purpose, but even then, he wasn't really too intimidating, considering Phantoms can't kill you. The Nightmare, it feels like his cheeks are really so big, and it makes him look less threatening. And he's one of the only animatronics that some players have never encountered. Even Markiplier never saw him. Markiplier? Murky Moo? Come on, Murky Moo! You gotta get... I'm taking your fucking Five Nights at Freddy's crown away. Don't think I'm not. You didn't see this guy. You can't call yourself the Five Nights at Freddy's king. Golden Freddy, Yellow Bear, Fred Bear, whatever the fuck you want to call him. It's like dealing with... It's like Snoop Dogg. One day he wants to be called Snoop Dogg, then he wants to be called Snoop Lion, and I don't know, like maybe he went back to Snoop Dogg? I don't know. Just choose a name and stick to it. In Five Nights at Freddy's 1, he was originally just a hallucination, one who could apparently crash your game. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, he had an AI to him, but was still more of an actual hallucination. In Five Nights at Freddy's 3, he wasn't there. Let's just ignore that. In Five Nights at Freddy's 4, he was given a total fucking makeover and a bigger purpose to the series. He's the one that caused the bite of 87. That's more intimidating than enough. That and Nightmare Fredbear actually looks like a fucking boss. That's what Nightmare Freddy should have looked like, minus the color. One thing I don't get is, why in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 he had a black top hat and a black bow tie, yet in Five Nights at Freddy's 4 it's purple? Once again, you can't just randomly change things throughout. Whatever! Some people are fucking hypocrites. It's always the Misfit in certain games and movies are always so popular and a fan favorite. Yet in real life, you'll never bash an eyelash when it comes to the Misfit. Oh, you see that Misfit in school or work or I don't know, wherever the fuck you are, depending on your age? Let's totally ignore him. Oh my god, this Misfit in a TV show, let's make him fan favorite. Goddamn hypocrites. Foxy the Pirate was one of the fan favorite characters of Five Nights at Freddy's. The reason I say that is because he's a little different from all the others. Unlike Bonnie, Freddy, and Chica, you have to actually have to look at him when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's 1. If you don't, well, he's gonna come running to your office and start pounding on your doors, and that's if you close the door. He's just sitting there like,
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2, he wasn't like a fucking idiot and didn't fall for your mask thing. Five Nights at Freddy's 3, he became kind of generic as a phantom. And in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, he got in the closet, being a creep. What was he doing in your closet in the first place? I don't know. If he's in your room, he might as well just come after you. But, I don't know, motherfucker just wants to get in closets. He's still in your socks. You're a pirate is free. You are a pirate. I've come to steal your socks. Steal your fucking socks all around. People love the Misfit in games, but in real life, they're ignored. You are a misfit. How was that for you? What does that do anything for you? You can't come after me now. I'm guarded. Especially my crotchular region. I am a fan of mystery, lore, and speculation, and the marionette gives a lot of that. He acts differently just like Fox. You have to wind him up, or he'll come straight after you. If you fail him once, you know he's gonna come. You just don't know when. It could be right away. It could be a long-ass time. Kind of like how Freddy was in the original game when you ran out of power. Then there's still so much we don't know about the marionette. Apparently he gave life to the animatronics, but how did the marionette even have this ability in the first place? That was never explained. What, was he like the first victim? Was he built for the specific ability to bring people back to life in the animatronics? Is someone, I don't know, like, why is it the puppet and not another animatronic? That's what kind of fused me to think that maybe he was built specifically for the purpose, but how the hell would they be able to, like, predict the murders? Did they know people were being killed beforehand? I don't know! Then he looks fucking cool. I mean, look at this shit. That's rad as all hell. And yes, I said rad. I'm not going to say hashtag yellow swag like Generation Y or the current generation. But the reason it's called Generation Y is because Y's generation exists. And don't you dare come after me for saying that. Rad is rad. If you don't like it, you're not rad. Bro. And Mangle's more of a misfit, because Mangle's a little different than Foxy. Mangle's the animatronic that the kids could literally build up, which I don't know, like, how that was handled, because I always feel like the kids are going to try and steal certain pieces. I don't know. Well, maybe that's why Mangle doesn't have any legs. And like, you couldn't steal the head. How would you steal the head? I'm sure they had like little play sets of little Mangles you could play with. But the kids are like,
I want that one! Mom!
Stop him. Oh god, Gothic Slenderman just mimicked a slapping kid. He promotes abuse. No, it was a fucking joke. Get over yourself. But anyway, Mangle was always also different because, just kind of like the marionette, Mangle could come after you, but it takes time. But as soon as Mangle's in your office, it just drives you crazy because you know Mangle's going to come after you at any point in time. Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. Plus, there's that noise, that brain scratching. And in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, it got even worse. And you know what? I like Mangle for that. Mangle is fucking unique as all hell, and I like Mangle. There's just so much you could do with Mangle, and just like Marionette, only appeared in 2 fucking games. Oh, God. And the #1 favorite animatronic I love from the Five Nights at Freddy's series is Springtrap. Point build up. What am I gonna say? Balloon Boy? Who cares about Balloon Boy? You're just sitting there. There's balloons. Being a dick. Springtrap is always one of my favorites because unlike the other animatronics, Springtrap was a real threat. Because Springtrap was possessed by the killer that killed all those children that had their soul stuck in the animatronics. Springtrap is a born killer. And in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, he was a lot more aggressive than any of the animatronics. Let's say in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the only animatronic he had to deal with was Bonnie. Yeah, it would have been easy. If it wasn't for Chica, Foxy, and Freddy, you could have just sat there. In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, if it was just, let's say, Toy Freddy, you could have just sat there as well. In Five Nights at Freddy's 3, Springtrap is only one, but he has the power and aggressiveness of all the other animatronics combined. And that's what makes him my favorite. He's intimidating. He actually has a great design. There's so much to him. He actually looks frightening and intimidating, unlike most of the other animatronics. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 may not have been the scariest game, because in my opinion, most of the Five Nights at Freddy's games aren't that scary, with the exception of the 4th. But when it comes to character designs and designs in general, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was pretty fucking awesome. Even if it wasn't too scary. It wasn't really that scary to begin with. And even if Springtrap was just plopped into the series, he added so much into the story and became one of the most beloved characters into the series. I would love to see Springtrap return in Five Nights at Freddy's. And since there is a movie being made, I would love to have Springtrap in that movie as well. And some of the animatronics I listed, but you can't get everything you want. And that was my list of top 10 personal favorite animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's. This was a really fucking lengthy list, and I'm sorry, I wasn't planning for this. I thought it was going to be like a really quick one. But I had to refresh the recording. That's how long this recording session is. I don't know how long the video is actually going to be. I apologize for everything. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, make a favorite, and subscribe if you'd like to see some more. I make videos almost every day. And remember, we all see a fish in the ceiling at least once in our lives.